yesterday Andy Roddick was a kid. He's now a retiree, believe that or not. And you're wondering, a guy as talented as he is, how come he has not won um, more majors? What happened? The truth is the fact that he was never really that good, but he's definitely was very good at the time for serves. And I think it just that the type of serves that he had just blew everybody away, because he's a very high accuracy first serve and second serve. His first serve is very much like his second, and nobody actually had this type of serve back then. I guess Monfils came in kind of really quickly. Actually, Monfils kind of copied Andy Roddick's serve in the beginning, so they actually look exactly the same. You could go to his old go to Monfils' old video, and it is exactly the same short take back motion as Andy Roddick. So you have to credit today's a lot of players, the way they play pretty well on their serves has to do with Andy Roddick's style. And I think Andy Roddick's old coach was a freaking genius. And that is actually the guy that actually took Andy Roddick to the top 30 and actually laid down the foundation for him to actually win all these titles. But let's talk about the stuff that he wasn't very good at. And he's not good at quite a bit of things. He's actually not as agile as people think he is. He's definitely there every single time to try to get the ball, and I applaud him for definitely the effort level, but he's definitely not the fastest. And you know, when he first came on tour, he was pretty dangerous with his forehand, and he just rips it every single time, like super fast. He has a super light headlight racket, but then later he just kind of nudging the ball until he actually wait for the chance for it. So it's kind of weird, the fact that he actually becomes a very defensive play later in life. He does use his body weight to his advantage. So he got a little bit fatter when he was like a little bit older, but you know, that's when he used his body weight instead of his arms or his legs and stuff like that. So which is also a good thing. But his backhand is always like a weak point of his. It's just look a little bit awkward. It's just there's some stuff that about him is just not very flexible about his strokes. He just grips a little bit too hard and stuff like that. So it just never really flows really that well. So people try to attack his backhand all the time. I mean, the best things he did was definitely the backhand pass that he makes. So he does bait people pretty often on some of his short balls, and then they try to come in and try to. Then he passes on the then Andy passes on the backhand. But you know, he just cannot do it all the time. He just has to play better. So eventually, he just never really improved that much. Maybe after the Mandy Moore breakup, he was just never the same player. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but I heard it wasn't because of Mandy Moore. It was they were breaking up anyways. But that doesn't really matter. So his career pretty much he just stayed as is, and he decided to not make that much improvement adjustment. Try to make a living out of tennis and try to prolong it as long as possible. That mean, in a way, it's the best way to make money, but in a way, it's not the best way to win a slam. So at the end, he only got one slam, which is the U.S. Open, and it was pretty amazing. The year that he won it, he had the perfect form for forehand, backhand, and serves. But after that, it's just kind of he just kind of fell apart again, and just kind of go back in the older ways or the easier way of doing things. And that's how people are. And I don't want to bash on Andy Roddick, but it's I think this is what he did was already really, really good. And that's for sure. Okay, so Uh, Anything above that is, I think, is beyond and above. So that's what I think.